hopping and a singing his song. All the little birds on Jaybird Street love to hear the robin go tweet, 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 rockin' robin, tweet, tweet.
Welcome to Life is Good. I'm Heather McEwen, your ever-loving hostess, and guess where we are? We are in Derby, at the first house past Miss Jarvis, the lawyer, right in the center of Derby. It's a brand new art gallery, and I have Kathy Beals here, who's my friend from choir, but also a very, very strong woman in all regards. And so it's great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
I ripped her out of the studio. This art gallery just opened today, so who do you know here?
I know the artist in resident, Alyssa DeLaBruere. We've been friends for over 20 years.
How did you meet 20 years ago? She doesn't look, neither one of you look old enough to know each other 20 years.
We actually met through church, where we were attending, and then our kids actually brought us together. I had a 5-year-old at the time, and Alyssa had her children.
Really?
So we got together through our kids, and just kept in touch all that time.
I was thinking of having more children just so I could meet people. Not. I'd like to have more, but you know what? I'm meeting people other ways now, and it's a different thing for me. And one of the ways I meet people is to come to art studio openings. And this art is beautiful. What's your favorite kind?
Oh, I really like the work that she does with her oils and her impressionistic style of creating is what I like the most.
You know, it's very
but
gentle.
I like it all, so it's very hard to pick.
What a diplomat you are. But it's true, you have your favorites. I have my favorites. I haven't studied this art yet because I've just arrived, but I just walk through and listen to people talking, and they're riveted, and I think the paintings are gentle.
Very. Well, and the part of it that has always, which interested me at the beginning when she was doing this, was her National Park series. Because I'm a very big advocate of national parks, and I've traveled to a lot of them. So it's fun for me to see the things that I've seen come to life on the canvas after she's painted
And they really do come to life?
And they do come to life.
What's your favorite national park so far?
My favorite national park is Zion National Park in southern Utah. It's breathtaking there.
I like the music. Come to Zion. Remember we sang that last year?
We did, that's
Holy
right.
cow, I thought, I'm not going to get this one right. So I do a lot of lip syncing. But
You walk around that park a lot of time with your head up in the air, just like looking. It's amazing, it's beautiful.
So how about art for you? Are you crafty?
I love to color. As long as I have something already drawn for me, I will spend many hours just sitting and coloring. I have tons of colored pencils, glitter pens, more books than I should have.
There's no such thing.
No, I know. And it's something that my daughter and I share with each other. We've been known to sit on our deck on a sunny afternoon and just color for hours. Like we'll be there for 8 hours and just color and talk.
Well, that's a lovely way to spend time. When you're painting or drawing, there is no time.
No, there is no time.
I know.
And this is my daughter who's not little. I mean, she's now 28 years old.
I know. And she said, last time I heard her say, I'm trying to find myself. And I said, well,
she is.
I'm many decades older than you are, and I have not found myself because and I'm not looking.
No, and people ask me like, what did you want to do when you grow up? And I'm like, well, I haven't really grown up yet. I'm still looking for what I want to do.
And you're off to Italy.
I am off to Italy. I've been able to do some traveling in the last couple of years, which has been wonderful, actually.
Where are you going? You went to Israel.
I've been to Israel. I've been to Ireland.
You're doing all the I states, Israel, Ireland, Italy.
I've done some traveling here in the U.S. I was out at the West Coast last year, so I was in Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. I have family in Utah. I've been to Montana. I've been almost every state out west. Foreign countries, like I said, was Ireland, in Israel. Those are the foreign places I've been to. Except I did go to England, Netherlands, France, Germany when I was younger. I went with a touring group. We sang.
You're kidding.
You know, we were in choir, and we sang, and we got to stay in people's homes and meet the people and meet their culture.
I think that's the only way to travel.
It was a wonderful way to travel.
I always traveled alone.
Yeah.
Because I would be adopted and usually hired by the people around. And my travels were filled with great relationships. And when you're living with the people, among the people of a different country, you actually get to see the country.
You get to see the country, you get to really understand, you get to experience the culture, which is so important. Because there's more than just what you see when you go to visit another country. It's how they talk and greet and take care of one another and what they eat, what they drink. It's all a part of it, and you need to experience that. And I've been lucky enough to do that.
Yeah, I'm from Quebec.
Are you? Yeah.
And so I'm from Montreal, and when we greet people in Montreal, it's hello, you grab and kiss and and how are you, and it's very physical. And then when we go to Paris, it's where I've never gone. I've never been to Paris, but I've been to Oklahoma. Not the same thing. Anyway,
What far removed from each other?
I know, but when you go to Paris, you see a Parisian talk, and it's like bonjour.
They're very
How are you? Not very formal, and it's like they can't stand. In the old days, they hated people from Quebec because we were patois, we were provincial, literally, and we were so proud of ourselves because when we go over anywhere, even in Europe, we're very accepted by all over Europe.
So when they look at you, can they tell you're from Quebec?
Oh, they don't have to look right in their faces. I know, ça va, and they're looking, well, you're from Quebec, went away from me. But it might be different now, but
I don't know.
I love traveling too. But I'm really out. You know, I'm not traveling now. Now that I'm in Newport, I'm so happy here.
There's times when I'm a widow now, and so I've been thinking, you know, okay, what am I supposed to do next? It's been about 4 years, and I'm like, okay, what's the next step for me? Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And when I sit on my deck and look out across Lake Memphremagog up into Canada, and I see I'm like, you don't need to go anywhere else than right here, because it is just perfectly beautiful here. I love to go other places, but it's always nice to come back to Vermont.
That's for sure. I grew up on the lake.
Yeah.
So on the Canadian side of Lake Memphremagog. Folks, there are so many things you can do here in Newport, in Derby. Come and see us.
Yeah.
Because we have beautiful art galleries. This one in Derby just opened up today, and it's one of the many. But it is beautiful. And I'm going to be interviewing everybody who's involved with it, and if we're lucky, we'll get some more people who'd like to speak to me, like Kathy Beals. Thanks, Kathy.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure. I just want to say to you, I've known Alyssa for a really long time, and I can't think of anybody who deserves this more than she does. She is a phenomenal artist. We are so blessed to have her here in the Northeast Kingdom. So please come see her work. You're going to be awed.
You're going to be awed, and I'm already awed. Anyway, but we'll go there another time. Thanks, Kathy. Give me a hug. Oh, to Quebec, eh? Now I have Brian McCrae, a teacher, an artist, a singer, an actor. And he knows Alyssa, who's the founder of this art gallery, but he also knows art. So what do you think of the art that you've seen today, Brian?
I love it. What a great resource in this community. Not only like the classroom part of it, which is great. It's a great thing to have in the community. I know personally there are a lot of kids around that, in fact, Alyssa has one of my students as her student because that person doesn't have enough art just at high school. So.
Even though the art is very well taught at North Country Union High School. Anyway, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
As an art teacher, what do you think a child might benefit or an adult might benefit by taking art classes here?
Well, I think, especially for kids, and this is something that wasn't given a lot of respect when I was a kid. Oh, you were going to find a career in art. But I think there's going to be a lot more creative careers in the future. There'll be a lot more jobs that have to do with art and creativity, because finally machines are taking over everything else. So I encourage my students to be positive and think, hey, look, if you love what you do, eventually you'll be able to do something like Alyssa's done here and make it into a successful career, because there's plenty of people that are interested in it.
I know, I see the computers, i.e. taking over quite a bit of what we see here. And it can never be, it might be perfect technically, but unless you have the actual hand stroke, brush stroke of an artist, you don't get something that's created from the soul. And when I look at the pictures here, now you're talking about the three canvas, the multiple canvas.
Yeah, I like the multiple canvas, idea. I love the prints that they have out there. Well, there's an example of another thing that's kind of going digital. You can make prints of your artwork, and that's another way that you can sell it. You're not restricted to creating a piece that takes you a month, and you figure, well, I gotta make at least $1,000 because I've got that time into it. You can make multiple
Well, then you
copies,
know how artists think.
and they're getting better and better. Like
Well, then you see the movement too.
Yeah.
When you see geese flying in this, you see geese up in the air. But when you see the succession of geese in motion, it's a sweeping visual of the sky, and it's beautiful. And same with the water and the waves.
Oh, it is.
She's so good.
Yeah, I like this piece that has the magpies.
We won't. Oh, is that magpie?
Yeah,
I thought you were geese.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses, but
It says the
forgive
geese
me.
of the West. So, which out there, and magpies are everywhere. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. And glasses are good to know. My friend just found them for me out in the main lobby because I had put them here. I bent over. And of course, they fell. They were returned to me and I had forgotten to put them on. So thank you, Brian. At least I can see you.
Yeah, glasses have a way of doing that.
And they improve my looks when I look in the mirror, you know.
And I can see you. So, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you very much. Anyway,
right.
Brian McCrae, great guy.
All right.
Talk to you all later.
Thanks,
Continued
Howard.
with more art. Welcome to Life is Good. Thank you very much for coming in. This is an exciting day for you.
It is,
I've seen some of your work.
yes.
How did you get started in ceramics?
I started in college a long, long time ago. But then when I had my family, I put it on hold. And then I started taking, when my boys got older.
How old are they now?
They are 28 and 25.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
I guess artistry keeps everybody in this business young because I couldn't believe it when Kathy told me that she had children who were children with Alyssa's.
Yeah.
So what are your kids doing now? And then we'll get back to art.
My youngest son, Dana, is in Boston. He works for a company called Medically Home, and he lives down in that area. And my oldest son is in Burlington, and he is a real estate appraiser, and he lives down in that area. So neither of them are too far. We get to see them.
I hope when they come up to appraise Newport, they come to my house and say it's not worth anything because that would really help my taxes. Anyway, it's really good. How did you get involved, not only with Alyssa, but with your art because it's exquisite?
Oh, thank you. So with ceramics, I just love experimenting. And I took classes when my boys were old enough with Diana Poulin, who has a studio in Newport.
On Elm.
Yes,
Ah!
yes, and she is a fabulous person, and she got me started back in it again. And then I had the opportunity to purchase the contents of a studio, so I did.
You're kidding.
And
That was a heck of an investment.
it was. Although Susan Brunelli, who is the ceramic artist who sold it to me, and she's a lovely person, and she helped me get all my stuff together, and we moved it into what I have in my own studio here in Derby.
Oh, you're in Derby too?
I am in Derby.
So
yes.
you do it there and then come here. None of the artists actually create here except Alyssa, is that correct?
Correct, yes. This is her teaching studio.
Okay, if you're just tuning in, we are at a studio that opened today on Main Street, right past the lawyer Jarvis, Miss Jarvis's office, on the same side of the street, Main Street, Derby. And I think, I won't give the number on air, I think it's 485, but don't quote me. Come and see this or take lessons here. You're still taking lessons or are you giving them now?
I am not doing either.
Really?
I do my own private ceramics work, but I'm a full-time art teacher at Derby Elementary School. So that is my full-time job.
Well, then everybody here knows you're going.
That's probably true.
That's all right. When the students come to you, they love to draw. It's probably the best class they have all day. How do you direct them to become more technical at an elementary school level?
At an elementary school level, I don't worry as much about the technical piece unless they are concerned about it. At the elementary level, I believe it's play-based and based on experimentation. And the way that I set up my art room is in a studio format for most of the grade levels, where they get to choose what medium they work with and guide their own work, like an artist would in their own studio.
I love it.
So
I'm going back to school.
And that is the way it should be, I believe.
In elementary school, which is the only place I ever took art, I looked forward to that class so much. And it was sort of like a 45 to 57 minute period once a day. And we stayed at our desks. We took out our crayons. We were given a piece of paper with a stencil on it. This is grade 1, 2, 3. And we were told to stay within the lines. And that was it.
That does not exist in my room.
It's gone. I'm so glad. I mean, in grade 1, I'll tell you how traumatic it was. Grade 1, Debbie Swan sat next to me. She was perfect. I mean, perfect in every way. And I was Heather sitting next to her, not perfect in any way. And she could stay within the lines. And I looked over and she had outlined the line with her crayon first. And then she stayed within the lines. And that's when I knew I was competitive. That is my first feeling of competition. And I was going to outdo Debbie Swan. I don't think I ever did. But art can create so much in the way of either relaxation or pressure.
True. And I always hope for the relaxation piece. In my opinion, most of the children that come through my room are not going to have careers in art. But what is important, and this was a music teacher in our school who said this, I thought was great, we want to create lifelong consumers of the arts. People who want to go to a museum or can paint in their free time or build something in their free time for enjoyment and for pleasure. So that's my hope for the students that come through my room.
Well, do you show them your art?
Yes, on occasion, yes.
So they know how far they can go?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we're going to go in later and really get some good film of your beautiful, beautiful things, because my daughter's favorite flower is the sunflower, and the colors you choose, the glaze, which is probably, it's my favorite part of the entire experience, is the glaze. I don't know, is your favorite flower sunflower? Or is it just the most dramatic to paint?
Actually, I'm a seasonal artist. I choose whatever is in season to work with, generally speaking. So when my sunflowers were going big in the garden, I went on a sunflower kick for a while. In the summertime, when I walk my dogs, I see lots of birds and wildflowers, and what birds and wildflowers become the theme. So I tend to be very seasonal in my work.
What do you paint in mud season? Yeah, it's a little bit of clay and it's going to stay right here, right now, and I'm going to run over it and I'm going to get it all over my clothing.
I'm probably going to continue on with my bright, cheery sunflowers.
Well, okay. So, Michelle Marsh, a wonderful teacher, a wonderful human being, and a fantastic artist. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, good luck here.
Thanks.
Sharon Selza, another artist right here at the new studio in Derby on the main street. So, you are a phenomenal jewelry maker.
Well, thank you.
Don't even look at mine. It's like,
Oh, we should have put a piece on you.
I'll be right back. Let's go. No, that would have been nice. This is beautiful.
Thank you. This is Venetian glass and pearls. You know, and I hand select everything.
Bye,
I work with.
everybody.
Bye,
Kathy.
We'll see you
Thank you
around.
for coming.
No, you're welcome.
Kathy's saying goodbye. So tell me more. You said Venetian glass?
Yes, it's handmade on the island of Murano in Italy. So I'm fortunate. I meet wonderful people and buy what they make, and
I
yeah,
don't.
so it's,
Do you go to Italy?
I do,
This is so pretty. And it's light.
yes.
I didn't think
is.
I thought it would be this big thing, you know?
Yeah, no, it's very light, yes,
I love it.
thank you.
How long does it take you? It's a really stupid question, but how long does it take you to do one of these? Because it's intricate.
It depends on what I make. If I do metal work with it, you know, it can take hours.
Do you have little soldering?
I have soldering tools, but I buy metal and different gauges of wire and sheet, and then I cut it, I shape it, I dome it, I texture it, you know, and create different things. And when we go in the other room, I'll show you some.
Oh, I
of the
can't wait to
work.
see
Yeah.
that, but I have a question.
Yeah.
You know, my grandfather was kind of an artist too with metal. Like he
Yes.
would make mathematical puzzles, which
Oh,
you have
wonderful.
to undo. He'd spend the winter doing that, so it would drive my brother and I crazy every year when we were, here, take that apart, ha ha ha. But we would go to the dump in Bromptonville, Quebec, and we'd get the metal from there. And
Yes,
he'd melt it down. It's like, we would get handlebars from bicycles and fenders and everything, and Grandpa would melt it down. But when you work with metal,
yes,
I mean, that's an exacting and difficult thing.
yeah. In sawing, you know, if I do flowers, I draw it and then I saw it, yeah.
And bend it.
And bend it.
So
Oh, yes,
do that.
yes, yes. The first necklace I ever made was for my mom, and it was a double petaled flower, and I put an amethyst, because she went purple, in the center. And, you know, it was beautiful, but it was crude, but God bless her, she
But did it just
worked
wake up in the
very
morning and start swearing at her? No, it was a crude, it was crudely made. Doesn't matter, but you
No,
cherish that.
I mean, it was really, it came out okay.
I'm
It
sure.
did. You know,
I'm
it was
glad
my
you-
first attempt.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say it came out okay.
Yeah.
What I don't ever want to hear from an artist is a self-deprecating remark.
Oh, no,
Because-
because there's no mistakes, it's all creation, and it's what you're feeling from your heart. And there's love infused in what you make, and
Thank
you
you.
hope to pass that on to people who wear it. At least that's my intention,
Well,
and I think it's a lot of artisans' intentions.
I've never met an artist in my life who wasn't modest.
Yeah.
But every time I talk to them, they say, oh, but I'm not that great. I won't take that from any artist. I'm really glad to
Thank
hear.
you.
From here, you're with confident people. I don't know whether it's because you're from Vermont, are you?
No, originally I'm from northwestern Connecticut, but I came up here in 1973.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
you've learned a
so
lot.
I have.
You know, and I came up in the 80s, lower to mid 80s, and I've learned more here about interactions with people.
Yes.
And
Well, it's on a very
respect.
personal level.
Very,
Yes,
because we haven't got time for gossip, we haven't got time for doo-doo, you know, we
Yeah.
just get to it. And it's a naturally modest state, it's a naturally self-deprecating state. They will not talk about themselves. They will not, if you're talking to somebody who's bragging, that person is not from Vermont.
Right.
And that's another thing the world could learn from Vermonters, how to be, without being self-deprecating, being filled with humility. And this whole art studio is an understatement of glory because it is absolutely gorgeous and you've all done beautiful work. But I was listening to everybody out there and you were just saying thank you. Well, thank you.
I'm very grateful.
Yes.
I've been very blessed in my life. I mean, part of creating and the people that I've met has enriched my life so much, you know.
How far do you travel with your art? Because
Oh, you know, I in the day, all over New England, but I did shows in Wyoming too. And I had 50 stores.
Tell me
At
about
one
that.
time, I did wholesale shows when my children were little, so that I could be home to get them to their sports and their horseback riding lessons, and I did wholesale shows, so I sold to 50 stores all over the United States.
How much inventory did you have to have?
Oh, a lot. I mean, I worked day and night, but I, you know, it
But
was
you
the
said
way
you
I
were-
could provide for my family.
Yep.
And I loved it. I had to change my whole line at that point because I did one-of-a-kind pieces for a long time.
You can't do
But
that.
then life changes and I had to shift. And it was okay. And then when the kids got through college, I shifted back and went mostly to retail. And I do have galleries.
Where?
Not as many. I have one down in Essex. I have
Well, tell me more, just in case you're in Essex.
Art Hound Gallery in Essex, the Northwood Gallery in Stowe.
Whoa,
This gallery.
high tax bracket,
Yeah,
Essex and Stowe.
yeah.
And now you've got one in Derby, continue.
I have one in Derby. I have one in St. J.
Where's that?
Right on Main Street.
What's it called?
It's the Northeast Kingdom Art Gallery,
Oh, there you go.
Artisans Gallery, yes. Yeah, you know, just, and a store from Brooklyn just called me.
Brooklyn, New York?
Yes, just called me
Get some
yesterday.
insurance.
And that's the Brooklyn Women's Exchange, and they're going to buy my jewelry, so it's wonderful.
It is
They went on my
fabulous.
website, and the buyer liked what she saw and called me, and
Isn't that?
it was through a customer of mine who told her about my jewelry, so, you know,
What do you think about
blessings.
this gallery itself and the
Oh.
teaching part of it?
I think it's wonderful, and I took a class from Alyssa years ago, and I'll take another, yes.
What are you going to study with her?
I want to do collage, yes. I would love to learn watercolor, but the collage speaks to my heart.
And what kind of collage work would you be looking into? I mean, here's a canvas, what would you put on it? That's I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, probably nature, flowers. I actually did one of the front of an Italian building with the arched doorway, and I had vines growing up, and the balcony and flower pots and
Oh, yeah, the Tuscan entry.
yes, that's it.
It's it, I know, and I like the Tuscan colors.
Oh, they're beautiful.
I can't describe them, kind of like a dusty rose,
Yes.
and
yeah,
then that blue.
yes, and also that Tuscan yellow.
That's
too.
true, that's
Yeah.
the Tuscan sun.
Yes, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Well, that's lovely.
yes.
Well, we'll just watch for that. We'll watch for that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you
And good
so
luck with
much.
this beautiful stuff.
Thank you.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank
Now,
you.
if you'd like to see this or buy some of this, I highly recommend you come down to Derby Main Street at this brand new gallery right beside the Jarvis Law Firm. And I'll tell you why. The parking is great. There's parking in the back. It's
Yeah.
worth it just for that. If you have to go shopping at Walmart, park here, walk 4 miles. It'll be worth it. Parking. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, thank you too.
Good art. This is Alyssa, the star of the show, because this is all your creation. And you've been everywhere, you've done everything, you've taught at the American School in London, and if we can start there, I'd like to, because London for me is theater and the Tate Gallery, old and new.
Sure.
And you must have been there only during the time of the new gallery.
I was there during the time of the new gallery, yes.
Okay, I used to live, I'd stay in Kensington at a boarding school, and you taught at a boarding school there.
I did.
Okay.
Okay, so let me fill you in. So I actually taught at Tassis, the American School in England, and I was just outside of London for 3 years from 2020 to 2023.
In Windsor?
We were in Thorpe in Surrey, so halfway between Windsor and London proper.
Surrey is the Garden of England. Did you know that?
It
It's
is.
so amazing. What a great place for an artist. I can't believe it. I guess I see some of that in your work.
A little bit, and
But-
if you look carefully, there's some, some images of Windsor Great Park in the gallery right now, and yeah,
We'll
I'll
have to
share
go through,
them.
we're going to go through the gallery with the camera. I'll be behind the camera, which will definitely improve the show. So then we'll see all the art, and I'll take it, and you'll tell me all about it.
Sure.
Okay, a little more about you.
So, I'm an artist, I'm a visual artist, I'm a painter and a printmaker, I love collage, but I'm also a teaching artist, which doesn't always happen. It's a rare breed to be I call myself a teaching artist versus an art teacher, because I really feel like teaching is a mentorship and a nurturing, and there are a lot of teachers that don't do their own practice. And there are a lot of artists who really don't have that passion to teach. And I kind of fall in that in between.
I fall right in. I don't want to teach. I do not want to teach.
There you go.
Because it's my way of spending 10 hours and feeling like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't even want anyone in my studio. Of course, I'm very much an introvert.
There we go. Well, interestingly, my personal studio is not here on premises. I have a beautiful studio in my house. It overlooks Lake Memphremagog. And that's where I do the majority of my work. Now, I'm always working here when I work with students. And I always have things going. I'm always, you know, working alongside them, and that's my way of teaching. But my own personal studio is in my house.
Oh, well, that's good to know. You have to, because it has to be you. And
You have to have your own space.
your vibes at the wall come out. Okay, now about your students.
Yes.
What is the age range, or should there be?
I teach all ages. So my youngest students are kindergarten age, and I teach all ages of kids classes from K all the way through high school. And then I teach about 40% of my classes are adult classes. And so right now I think currently my oldest student is 84. So I'm teaching from age 5 to 84 currently.
And do they come with their own specific wants? I mean, I want to paint mountains, I want to paint the lake.
If I have a private student, yes, and I curate it directly to what they want to learn, what media they want to learn, if they specifically are interested in landscape or still life or portraiture or abstraction or what they're interested in knowing. But my group classes, and my group classes are small group classes.
As 3 to 5?
My classes max at about 6. That's a real comfort sweet spot for me to feel like I'm giving you quality one-on-one individual instruction. Every once in a while there's someone who really wants to get in the class and I creep up to 7 or 8. But my kids classes range from about 4 to 6 students.
Do you provide all the materials?
I provide everything, and we use artist quality materials here. My kindergartners are painting on canvas and using the same kinds of paints that I paint with at home, because every work of art you do, you should be using the right products, because it is a masterpiece at whatever level you're working. And it might, you never know.
I paint on window blinds, Luan, doors I find in the dumpsters in New York City.
Well, we do that too when we're kind of doing repurposing and eco art kind of thing. But we also use really nice quality materials.
I'm going to talk to you about that because I have to learn where I can get that stuff in an affordable way.
There you go. So we can talk about that.
We can talk about
I tend to use online resources because we don't have anything close here where if we have a local art store, I would be supporting them first and foremost, always. Our closest art store is Johnson in Burlington.
Burlington had Boutelier on Main Street, but I understand on Church Street. Is that closing?
I believe it's closing.
Yeah, my daughter told me
Yeah.
that the stores on Church Street are closing.
Yeah. So I tend to use Blick online. But I'm ordering
I know Blick.
Yeah, I'm ordering huge quantities.
Blick is in San Francisco?
Yeah, they have
I
an
used to-
amazing online store.
I used to go to the Blick place in San Francisco when I was flying for JetBlue, and all my paints are now running out.
There you go. So Blick.com.
I'm really bad online, but this is so good. It's supposed to be all about you, but we're in a conversation of 2 artists talking. That's good though, so let's go and look at some of the art.
Okay, great.
I love this, and follow us.
As I was saying, there are a few things in the gallery that are little glimpses of England, and these were both painted plein air, outdoors on site in Windsor Great Park, outside of London. And this is at the time it was the Queen's deer that I was painting at about 6 o'clock in the morning.
It doesn't look at all like a corgi.
Not at all.
I can see the Queen now. Come hither, I have a treat for you. I know what you want. And this is
Same area, different day, and this was at lunchtime. So I spent quite a bit of time in Windsor Great Park. I could bike there from where I lived, and so I spent a lot of time painting in that area.
very, very nice. And that's watercolor.
They're oil, actually.
Is it? Is this? Oh, I thought that was watercolor. I thought I knew my stuff. I guess I don't. Where do you want to start?
Here you go. So welcome to the gallery. This was sort of my brainchild of coming back to Vermont, coming back home after being in England for 3 years. And I also spent a year doing a sabbatical out in Taos, New Mexico. So I was actually out of the Northeast Kingdom for 4 years. And coming home, reconnecting with the community, and really kind of reestablishing a teaching studio, which I had had prior, over on East Main Street in Newport for 7 years. And kind of refinding my footing here.
What was it called?
It was called Atelier Art Studio.
I remember that.
That was me.
Oh my gosh.
That was me, and we just went on a little hiatus while I traveled around a little bit, and now I'm back. So this time I really wanted a proper gallery artist shop. And not only to be able to show my work and have a place to exhibit, because we're lacking places to exhibit in northern Vermont, but also to kind of welcome in, you know, artists who are doing work that's different than mine. You know, I am very much a two-dimensional visual artist, primarily a landscape artist. And I love abstraction, I love representation, I work in all different media. But I'm like, oh, I want a potter, and I want a jewelry artist, and I want other female artists, and giving them a space for their work to be seen and purchased and enjoyed. And then hopefully we're going to expand that to other local artists who, you know, we have a lot of talented people in the Northeast Kingdom that don't necessarily have a place to show their work. And so having a space where I can invite people to have a pop-up show, where students, you know, promising up-and-coming students in this area could have a space where they could have an exhibition of their work.
Okay, great.
And see what that's like.
Let's go.
Okay, so come on around. So this is sort of a gallery that's a small space, but it's densely populated. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot of color. And Michelle Marsh is our potter here. And I love Michelle's work because it plays so nicely with my work. We're both kind of talking about and looking at and interpreting the natural world, just using kind of two different languages to do it.
I like to hear that. It's nice to be bilingual in an art gallery.
There you go. Watch the squeaky door here. And as you can see, you know, my work is a lot of different ways of working. You know, I'm a printmaker and I love line language of printing. I'm an oil painter, you know, and I love kind of intense elements of nature and moments of nature. That's what these are all about, you know, capturing those moments where the force of nature is kind of overwhelming.
Well, this is certainly absolutely beautiful. I love this so much. I can feel the ocean spray on my face. You know,
Thank you. Those were both in Cornwall.
Oh,
Both of these
oh,
images were
really?
taken
I
in
can see
Cornwall.
that.
This is Lake Memphremagog, but these were both Cornwall.
Oh, wow. And this is over by Jones River?
It is, yes.
Yeah, and this, of course, Cornwall. I have great stories about Cornwall. One of their favorite expressions, by the way, one of my friends from Cornwall used to say, well, I'm no oil painting. You know, because he wasn't really an oil painting at all. They say that to self-deprecate, but, and this jewelry is exquisite.
Oh my goodness. Well, Sharon is just so incredibly talented, and Sharon and I are, you know, both lovers of travel. And the thing I love about Sharon's jewelry is she travels all over the world and hand picks her Venetian glass and her pearls and her beads, and she's working with the highest quality materials.
Black pearl?
Just really exquisite. She's a rare jewelry artist, in my opinion.
Well, every artist here is exquisite. And I am thrilled that you invited me to come and do this, because what you've done in this small space is inspire me. And I heard that the other people were speaking, and you had quite a crowd this morning.
We did. It was so wonderful. In fact, it was a full house to the point where I had to step out of the room and give them space to look.
And it's not just because it's a comfortably, you know, secure space. It's inviting.
Thank you. That's what I wanted it to be. And it's going to be a space that, you know, you can come back every month or 6 weeks and it's all going to look different. The inventory is going to constantly evolve with the seasons, with new work that we're excited about that we want to share. So, you know, if you come back in June, you're going to see new things, and maybe things we're just experimenting with. So
Well,
we'll be fresh.
I am thankful that you invited me here today. I am so thankful. I'm going to just take a quick zip around, taking more pictures, and I'll be back, believe me.
Wonderful. Well, and go through the classroom space, because, you know, I teach classes for kids and adults, and we have two beautiful spaces to work in. So if you're, you know, come for the gallery, but come and stay for a class.
Thank you, my dear, and thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
What kind of classes do you do for adults?
I teach in a lot of different areas, so I usually at any given time have 2 adult classes running simultaneously.
As all of you know who know me, cows are my favorite beings in the world, followed by owls.
Bookmaking, stories of bookmaking, and then, different
colors
kinds of
are
ways
gorgeous.
to use that artist sketchbook of different
And brave.
exercises. And then for spring, I'll have a watercolor class, a collage class.